Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And a Mike.
And this is the Magic Mike Show, episode 602, Mr. Somich.
Little Pacific Classic. Huzzah!
What are we doing again? Yeah, Pacific Classic Day. It's here. It's tomorrow, Saturday, August 30th at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. 11 races in total. And the late pick 5 has 3 stakes, 3 races on the turf, of course, headlined by the inaugural running of the $1 Million Pacific Classic. Breeders' Cup winning your in races 9, 10, and 11. But everybody caring about the showdown in race 10. It's fierceness, journalism, Nisos, lots of local horses that are going to try and get a piece of that $1 million pool as well. So I'm excited. I think it's a fun card. We both went a lot more expensive than we did, deeper in spots than we did last week at Saratoga. I know last week's Saratoga show that pick 5 was very chalky, but I choose the glass half full angle. Those are some awesome racehorses that were winning those races.
Yeah, no, it's tough because on those days you're like, okay, I really want to make sure that we get to see the best horses, but at the same time, you want prices too, right? So it's tough to go back and forth. It's the reason I left Sovereignty off, which obviously I kind of regretted right around, I don't know, the quarter pole when it looked like he was going to win for fun and decide how much you wanted to win by. But it paid $50. And so that's not the kind of pick 5 I'm trying to hit. And so it kind of makes sense. You don't have that one when it's that paying that little. I thought Bookham Dana was awesome. I thought he was beat, and he kind of just showed the guts there. I thought Patch Adams was awesome. I actually thought Barnes ran pretty well. I'm interested to see what he does sprinting in the future. And I like Torpedo Anna, people were knocking that performance. I thought she ran super. I mean, she was kind of against it the whole way. She was forward. She was 3 wide. And you got to give some flowers to Dorth Vader, too, who just tries so hard every single race and just missed the bob there, or else she'd have another grade 1 under her belt.
Yeah, Dorth Vader was impressive. I agree with everything you said about it. Listen, I was wrong about Bookham Dano. I was like 7 furlongs, he'll get beat. And about halfway in the stretch, I was like, got it. Nope, don't got it. All right, so one heck of a horse. Problem is now my choice for the Breeders' Cup Sprint for the last couple of months is going to be a very short price. I needed him to lose so I could get a better price, but maybe that'll be the case for one of these runners we talk about today.
Did you hear that there's a rumor out there that Bookham Dano's not going to the sprint?
I heard that. On Tuesday, I think, is at least by the time I heard it. It's surprising, right?
Why wouldn't you? You have the best sprinter in the world.
The best sprinter in the world. I know I think what I heard, they wanted to target the Saudi Cup, but that's a long time from now. This is the end of August, and that's usually the end of February. So what are you going to do? Are you going to sit on him for 6 months?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense when you have the best sprint in the world. You've won a win and you're in. Like you're getting paid to go out there. Why wouldn't you just go out there and do it? Max writing in here, Sovereignty is what he is, but Magnitude is really sad. Yeah, Magnitude sucked, man. I was super disappointed because I didn't think the pace was that fast. He's done faster than that before. It's one thing if you get dusted by Sovereignty, but Bracket Buster, come on, dude. You got to be better than Bracket Buster at least. I was bummed by the performance we saw from Magnitude. We'll see kind of what he does next, but man, yeah, that was a bummer seeing him run the way that he did. So is Patch Adams now sprint favorite? Do you upgrade Patch Adams that much off that win?
I think they're going to dirt mile with him, is what I'd heard. Really? They were looking to train to the dirt mile for Patch Adams, which I don't know which race probably I think sprint would be better, but dirt mile, I guess it depends on who shows up for the dirt mile as well. Like if you've got a lot of speed horses, maybe cutting back from a mile and 8th, mile 16th that don't want the classic, that's going to be, I think, that maybe a difference maker for him. Maybe cross center into both races if you're Patch Adams.
Car Ramrod would like to know what time you're on TVG today.
I am not. I just have I actually just did my hair.
Wow, I get the TVG hair? I feel so special now, Magic.
Jason gets it. I heard Jason Hommel was going to be live, so I said, you know what? If Jason's going to join us, I got to get the hair on.
There you go. I like it.
All right. I like this sequence. It's the late pick 5 at Del Mar, Saturday, August 30th. 3 races on the turf, 3 Breeders' Cup win and you're in. Graded stakes events, and only one way to get into it. Rise up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 1 let's kick things off here for a great pick 5 sequence here. Race number 7 is going to be a turf mile event for the N2X allowance optional claiming fillies and mares. Nobody in for that optional claiming tag. You can see the early scratches. All the also eligibles are out. So the field of 11 that initially drew in is at least right now what we're looking at, and a fun way to kick things off. How are you playing it?
Yeah, it's an interesting little race here. I'm going to start out with the 7-2 favorite, but I am going to take a couple shots after that. The number 4 Vibes, I think, makes a ton of sense here. Thought the last race was really good, basically at this level. Now coming back, cutting back to a mile where we've seen this horse run well, has a win at a mile. I thought the other loss was a reasonable one considering the pace was really slow and just kind of didn't get the right fractions or the right setup that you wanted there at Santa Anita. Likes Del Mar, 2 for 4 over the racetrack. And your boy, Flavien Prat, back to ride since he's riding on NISO. So you get Flavien Prat to join here on the number 4 Vibes. That's going to be the top pick for me at 7-2.
Not the top play, but the second choice for me in here. I think as far as a win bet goes, he could probably be too short. She will be too short. But I definitely think this horse makes a ton of sense. I love everything that you said about the 4 Vibes, so I won't go any further. I will tell you, my top play really showed up in a big way for her 4-year-old debut last out. That's number 1, Hannah Buckle. Was a good stalking spot from post 3, going a mile against N1X Allowance Company, and won by almost 2 lengths in that spot. And if you look at her record at Del Mar, she's had 3 starts here, all going a mile, broke the maiden with Ayuso aboard. Out of that was the 5-2 favorite. Didn't get a good trip early on, got pushed farther back than she likes to be. She is a stalker, not a closer. And I think that setup on September 2nd last year just was too much for her. Out of that, came back with a good fourth at Santa Anita in a similar spot. But I think the fact that she's 2 for 3 at Del Mar, and I think there are legitimate excuses for why she isn't better than 2 for 3 at Del Mar. On top of that, her maiden win, you had the 4th and 5th place finishers win their very next starts. The 8th place finisher won 2 starts later. So a good race, a good field, and her 84 buyer in her 4-year-old debut. Mike, if she builds off of that, she is right there with the very top of what this field can do.
Yeah, we're not getting 12-1, are we? Second pick for me, number 1, Hannah Buckle. I was surprised when I saw that price. I love the setup here for her, too. I think there's a lot of speed in this race. You're going to see a faster pace. Drawing the rail, you should be able to save ground every step of the way here. I think it's a very similar trip to what we saw last time for Hannah Buckle. Yeah, it's a step up in class since this isn't N1X. It's open company, so that's why you're seeing the price like that. But, man, I was shocked when I went through this and I saw 12-1 there on the 1 Hannah Buckle. So I like that one quite a bit. That was the other must use in this spot for me.
So we agreed on those 2 horses. We each went 3 deep looking for a bit of a price. I'll go with the 11 Candy Bar. This is the horse that made the Del Mar debut last time out at this level, take advantage of that ship and win program. And it was going a mile and a 16th. I think that might have been just a touch too far for her, but she popped an 86 buyer, finishing 4th, beaten a half length after having a slim lead. Vibes was 2 noses in front of her. Vibes is on both of our tickets. Your top play, my second choice. The outside draw at 11, not ideal, but she also broke from post 9 last out in her local debut and was able to be right there. I mean, within a half length of the win at 27-1. This is one I think, unlike the 1, who I agree we're not getting that price, that more than that price. And I think the 11 is going to be a good price. She was racing against much tougher horses at Keeneland, Kentucky Downs, Alice Park. She cleared that at level 2 back, and immediately they said, okay, now ship her to Del Mar. Don't stay in Kentucky where we know she can contend. Let's separate to Del Mar and take advantage of the ship and win program. It almost worked last time out. I think it does work this time because she's got a bullet 59-3 work since that local debut.
If they're the post with the other speed is my concern, because she runs her best when she's forward. And when you're in the 11 post going a mile at Del Mar, it's hard to be forward and save any type of ground if there's speed inside of you. And like I said, I do think there is quite a bit of speed that is signed on here. So that was the reason I didn't use the 11, even though the 11 was a couple noses behind Vibes, who is my top pick in this spot. So I respect, but I don't think I can use here. And I do think you get the 12-1 price. I think you are dead on there. I think you're going to get the price that you want on the 11 horse Candy Bar there. Third on the ticket for me, Kinjani, the number 8 horse at 10-1. And this one was pretty simple in my mind. I think there's a ton of speed. I don't think a mile is bad for this horse. Ran a really good race, a couple back, going the mile distance, even though the last 2 we've seen a mile and an 1/8 and a mile and 3/8. look, the game lead, just draw a line through it. Never should have been in that race. Was 52-1 in the last spot, an overnight stakes for open company there, going way longer than I think this horse necessarily wants. Now you're cutting back to the mile. I think the setup here is what you're looking for the number 8 horse. Fresu jumps aboard. I think this horse has a big opportunity to be able to run a big race at a decent price here, 10-1. I think this one gets forgotten about too. So I'll take who I think is one of the better deep closers in this field, the number 8 Johnny here.
Yeah, I had this horse 4th. I wasn't sure about the distance, but the best race she's had since I know she won her California debut. She'd been racing overseas before that, and then she won going a mile and a quarter. But that mile effort really, I think, was the best outside of that. Not only forget the game lead, forget last out when she was going longer, but also Alpha Bella, multiple stakes winner. Mrs. Astor, one of your favorite horses over the last few years, was 3rd in that spot. She just inverse is tougher there. So I have this horse 4th. If the 1, 4, 11 scratch, I think the 8's going to end up making the ticket for me there. Race number 8. This one's a tricky one. Calbred 2-year-old maiden special weight fillies going 6 furlongs. $100,000 purse. Let's go for the Calbreds here. Scratch the 11, so the 12 will draw in. How are you playing this race?
Look, we talk a lot about Luis Mendez, one of our favorite 2-year-old trainers that doesn't get bet as much as he probably should. If you look at his numbers with 2-year-olds, 17% with a $2.35 ROI for first-time starters with 2-year-olds. He's got 2 in here. The 7, Lady K Westfall, is 15-1 on the morning line. That horse has run once before. I thought ran okay. And Mel Donato was on that horse. Mel Donato, the go-to rider for Luis Mendez in these spots. Mel Donato switches over to the 6, God bless her, who has a flurry of workouts, and none of them really jump out in the last few. But then you look back to August 3rd, 47 flat out of a gate. You go back to June 27th, 47-4. The horse has early speed. This is one of those where I think you're catching a Calbred field. You don't need to be an absolute world beater to be able to win this type of race. And we're getting 6-1 on a trainer that I trust first time out with a horse that has the foundation, which is often my concern with Mendez, is those horses don't have the foundation. This one does, and she's fast. I'm going to go with the number 6. God bless her, 6-1 on top.
Second choice for me. Again, I agree with everything you said. I will add one more stat kind of in this horse's favor. Maldonado and Luis Mendez, I know you see that they're 5% at Del Mar in the last 2 years, but overall, they're facing a lot of Bafferts, first of all, in that spot. But overall, 19% together with 2-year-olds. They do fantastic work. And you also mentioned jumping off the 7, who showed speed and quit and is going to be blinkers off after that effort. Yeah, that 47 flat gate work on August 3rd really caught my attention. So the 6 is the second choice for me. I did put the 4 Dancing Daisy on top. A daughter of Dancing Candy was a good second in her debut effort. It was on this turf here about 3 weeks ago. But now I was going to try the dirt. I think that with the breeding, this horse could handle either one. But I like that she had speed in a field of 8 and just wasn't, second best. But she's also 3-1 in that spot. So there was a lot of people that were liking her for that debut. It's a barn that isn't going to wow you with their stats with second start maidens overall, but Sean McCarthy, a good trainer, and I think the horse is spotted right. So I just went 4-6 in here. I know it might be a little dicey to go too deep in a very kind of wide open 11 horse field of 2-year-old Calbred special weight fillies, but I just went 4-6.
Yeah, I couldn't decide what to do with the 4, and I was really between the 4 and the 2 as my third horse on the ticket. I went with the bigger price, and considering that the 2 had experience on the dirt, the first race on the dirt kind of got into a little bit of trouble. It had a weird start, was stuck inside, couldn't get out, didn't get to run, and then kind of lost second late. So I wanted to take a shot with the 2 horses, 6-1, who was third on my ticket instead of the 4. I'm also going to use the 5 horse Miss Kona here for Peter Urton. That horse debuted, I thought ran very well on debut, was inside, was 15 lengths back at one point after just a disastrous start and showing no speed, and absolutely flew up and just missed second. One of the more expensive horses in the field as well, selling for $75K. So I'm going to take a shot or put the 5 on the ticket as well. So I ended up just 2-5-6 in this spot.
I apologize for the crying baby. She just finished eating. My issue with the 5, Mike, is that this is a horse I think is going to get way over bet because it's the classic 2-year-old on debut, blows the break, closes fast. Everybody goes, yeah, play that one next out. I'm afraid as far as the price, this is a horse that's going to be playing like a 6-5, 7-5 maybe in the pool as well as far as the win bet.
See, I thought the 4 was going to be that horse. And that's kind of where because the 4 took so much money on debut, as you mentioned, 3-1 versus 12-1 on the 5 on debut. So it feels like the 4 is I think the 4 ends up being close to or the favorite. I think you're going to get pretty much the 4 and the 5 as the 2 favorites. And so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the 6 or 5 gets bet off the board, but I wanted to include it because I did think that was the most impressive first out start that we saw from anybody.
All right, we'll move on to the third leg here of the Late Pick 5 Saturday, August 30th. Yeah, at Del Mar. It's the Grade 3 Green Flash Handicap. Breeders' Cup winning in for the Turf Sprint. And Motorius is back once again, Mike.
Yeah, Motorius is back. Loves this track. 3 for 4 with 1 second place finish. Loves the distance. 3 for 6 with 2 second place finishes. Makes a ton of sense. Runs well off the layoffs. You can't really knock this horse for that sense, but I decided to go to the number 11, Queen Maxima on top, right to the outside, who I thought ran an awesome race 2 back. I don't think this horse wants to go a mile. That was the main knock on that last race at Del Mar on the seasonal debut. You go back, you look the other time this horse ran a mile, also the career worst effort. This is a horse I expect to be better late in the 4-year-old season, second start off the layoff. Had some trouble in that last race as well. I mean, there's just a bunch of reasons for me to say, okay, I'm willing to draw a line through that one. Has worked well out of that race. You're getting 9-2. Pace should be set up well, but this horse doesn't need it to materialize in front because Queen Maxima has enough early tactical speed. I used the 10, but I'm going to put the 11, Queen Maxima, on top at 9-2.
So this is the race where we each went the deepest, and we agree on 3 horses. You went 4 deep, I went 5 deep here. And this is one of them. Yeah, Queen Maxima was a good use. Motorius, I don't know how much we need to talk about Motorius. Second beaten a neck in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint here last year after winning this race. You look at his pattern, the last 2 years of the Green Flash Handicap that he's won, he came in fresh, right? He went May to September in 2023, got the win. And then in 2024, he went June to late August. This year, he's going June to late August. So it all makes sense. This is, I would say, the best he's looked coming into it form-wise, because he has won 2 straight. He usually comes in with some form that makes you go, maybe he's okay, maybe he's great. No, he's worth a use, absolutely. Doesn't seem to have lost a step now as a 7-year-old. The third horse that we agree on, we'll talk about next, is the 4, Sorrento Sky, coming out of a common race where several horses used that race on July 31st as a local prep. There were 5 horses. 4 of them are in this spot, and Sorrento Sky is the one that we agreed on here.
Yeah, look, the 4 makes a ton of sense to me. Or first off was 2-1 in that race, and now you're getting 12-1. So the odds jump there is a big time positive. That was first off the layoff as a 4-year-old for Phil D'Amato. He's 19% with a positive ROI. Second off this type of layoff. He's also got Motorius. So the fact that he's got Motorius and we still see Sorrento Sky in here, I think is awfully interesting. It's a horse that likes Del Mar, 1 for 3 with a second and a third at the track. Likes the distance, never missed the board with 2 wins. In 4 races. It has consistently gotten better every single year. So you see a layoff and then the horse comes back better. And you see a layoff, the horse comes back better. Needs to improve to be able to win this race, but I don't think the improvement is illogical here. He didn't have the best start in that last race. He was basically a photo with Virat in that spot for second. Boss Sully won the race, who kind of controlled it toward the front end as well. So it's one of those spots where I don't think, because that was a 5-horse field, that necessarily set for the best spot for Sorrento Sky. Now with the bigger field, you're going to ensure more pace. Sorrento Sky should be forward and then be able to make a kick into it off the far turn. Love the 12-1 price, like Raspolia board here for D'Amato. So the 4 was one of those that kind of just made sense for me. Last horse on for me, I'm going to take a big shot here at 15-1 with the 8 Sumter. And this is one that I think is a horse that has the ability sprinting, but has never really gotten to show it. If you look at this horse, he's kind of between distances. 2 back in the Hernandez, lost by a head to Motorius, came back here sprinting for the debut, was in that race. Just kind of stalked and weakened when he faced Boss Sully and Sorrento Sky and Virat in that spot. Now you're getting second off the layoff. This is a 6-year-old who most likely needed a race to be able to really get back into it, and is 1 for 11 at Del Mar. And you look at that and you're like, well, that's not very good. But then you look through the races and it's like, okay, was in a 1:16 Seabiscuit, set the pace, faded. A mile race. Was close to the pace, ended up running 4th, lost to Air Force Red, Pax of Wallop, Cabo Spirit. Those are pretty good horses at this level. Mile race right before that ends up running 2nd to Brand, another very good horse here at Del Mar, with Pax of Wallop running 3rd in that spot. So I go through this, and like even the 1:16 Seabiscuit that he ran in 23, Easter won that race. Hong Kong Harry ran 2nd, Balnikov ran 3rd, and he ran 4th. Like that's still a good field. So it doesn't feel like he's losing two worse horses. And now we're cutting back to a sprint distance, which I think Sumner is going to enjoy here. So I'm going to take a little bit of a shot here with the 8 at 15-1, and Johnny V stepping up for Mike Smith. I think it's a positive rider change as well for a horse that should be able to come from off the pace.
I didn't use this horse because I think he's stuck in a weird spot where he needs a race, but the Del Mar Mile is not where he's at, and I think he's not on that caliber at this point in his career. I think he's a miler down the hill to Santa Anita / miler. I think 5 just too short for him. I kept looking at him, especially because you're getting 2 Hall of Famers teaming up together, Johnny V for Papa Mandela. Just couldn't pull the trigger on Sumter there. But listen, this is the race where we each went the deepest, even despite both using Motorius, who's won this race 2 straight years. 2 other horses for me that I used. We talked about that race where Sorrento Sky comes out of it. I'm using the winner, Boss Sully. He's 2 for 4 at the distance. Was 3rd in the Stormy Liberal Stakes here last December. I kept going back to the fact that he's exiting back-to-back 98 buyers. The 98 buyer beating everybody here. Okay, that's good. How about the 98 buyer finishing 2nd by less than a length in the Grade 2 turf sprint, going 5.5 at Churchill Downs? That was Derby Day. That was some big horses that he took on there and almost won. And he is a horse that a lot of his races, he's been right there on the front. But he also can sit just off of it in a stalking spot. And I think the fact that he's tactical enough, he's fast, but he's not a pure need the lead type, which a lot of these horses in this field are. I think that he'll sit right there with them. And with Ayuso, I'm a really big fan of what Ayuso's, how he's been riding horses at the meet at Del Mar. He's become one of those sneaky jockeys for me to pay attention to. So I used him. And then I also used, yes, I know, we'll get to it. Can you let me talk about it? The last horse on for me, if you wanted to go cheaper and go 40 here, leave the 12 off. I use the 12 Reef Runner, and I'm going to cross my fingers, Mike, that there's a couple scratches because I don't love this horse breaking all the way outside in a field of 12 going 5 furlongs. But is coming out of some very, very solid races and has been a very consistently strong turf sprinter. At this 5 furlong distance, which you can get at Gulfstream and at Tampa Bay Downs, this horse has missed the board 1 time. That 1 time, he got shuffled way too far back at Tampa, a track where they took a shot with him because it was a stakes race, and they never went back to Tampa with him again. That's just a funky bit of a turf course there. But a consistent runner in the championship meet at Gulfstream, won a nice handicap race last out off the layoff, and now they ship him out here. I would prefer a local jockey. I am not a Paco Lopez fan, but when Paco thinks he's got a good horse, Paco actually gives a shit and tries, and this is a good horse, and I think this is the main reason Paco's here, so I'll take Reef Runner at a big price at 15-1.
Yeah, look, I don't think Reef Runner's crazy. Needs to improve quite a bit, but like, I wouldn't be shocked second off of 4. I love it when you ship out here like this type of horse. The post was the problem for me because I think he's going to be way back. You got Coppola in here who we haven't talked about. You've got Booksmart in here who we haven't talked about, who are going to blaze. I mean, we're going to see 21 and change, right? Maybe a 20 come up on the fractions because you have Beyond Brilliant on the inside as well, who probably has to go forward, even though sprinting not really Beyond Brilliant's game. That makes it hard for me to believe the 12's in striking distance. And that was the big concern for me, is that if we do go that fast early and you're drawn outside, it's going to be tough for that horse to be able to do it. It's the same reason I didn't use Boss Sully, is I think Boss Sully is the slowest speed of the speed. And that's scary to me because that means that you have to pass the 2 speed horses and then hold off the horses that are going to be coming late. And there's some pretty good horses that are going to be coming late in this spot. So I respect the 7. The 7 almost made the ticket, but because of the fact that you're the 3rd best speed horse kind of forced me to leave that one off.
Before we move on to the next race, I want to go back real quick to race number 8 because I didn't realize we have a celebrity in here in the chat. Miss Kona's co-owner, Chris Victor, in the chat. And he said she will fire for us there, the 5 horse, your 5-2 favorite. So just wanted to, I saw it a little late, Chris. We'd already moved on, but I did want to draw attention to that. And listen, best of luck to you. Mike likes your horse, so that's usually a good sign. Yeah,
I like your horse, Chris. Magic's a hater. Just remember that on Saturday. Mike liked it. Magic's a hater.
This is gonna backfire so epically for me. All right. The penultimate leg of the late pick 5, Saturday, August 30th at Del Mar. It's the Grade 1 $1 million Pacific Classic. Breeders' Cup winning here for the Classic, a race where I know. Don't worry. He hates journalism. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, look, this is a spot where it's really three horses that you're talking about here. You look through everybody else. I think that you could see some horses be able to run up into the exacta, trifecta, possibly the superfecta, but I'm hard pressed to think anybody can beat Fierceness, Nisos, and Journalism. To me, this is one of those spots where, and this is crazy to even say, Fierceness is the most trusting horse in this race because Nisos never done the distance. Journalism never faced Older, and we've seen Fierceness handle the distance. We've seen him handle the track. It's just whether or not you're going to get the A race from Fierceness. If I am betting this to win, I'm probably betting Fierceness to win because I want the best price of those three horses. Pick fives, I think you have to use, and this is the top pick for me here, Nisos, who is 8-5 on the morning line. I think deserves to be the favorite. Was geared down in the San Diego. Absolutely had no issue with that field, which honestly was not a very good field, but at least showed you that the distance shouldn't be an issue here for Nisos, who's going to try and go 1.25 miles. You look at the breeding, Nyquist on the top side, Bernardini on the bottom, both of those horses able to get the distance. I just respect the heck out of what Nisos has done so far this year. I thought ran huge in the Churchill Downs off a very long layoff, dead heated with Banishing and lost to Mindframe in that spot by a neck, comes back, beat Dr. Vankman, who I was impressed by in the previous race, into Triple Bend, stretches out in the San Diego. Now you're kind of on that Breeders' Cup Classic track, and it feels like this is a horse that Baffert's wanted to get there. Pratt is riding this horse, chose this horse over Baeza, who we have seen be competitive with Journalism in the past. So to me, this is a spot where I want to use Nisos, and we'll see if Nisos able to get the job done here. But I am going to go too deep and use Fierceness because I do like the upside of Fierceness, and I get he doesn't always show up. That's the most frustrating part of this horse. But we saw him show up going 1.25 miles over this racetrack, ran huge against Sierra Leone. I think ran a better Breeders' Cup Classic than Sierra Leone did, considering that he stalked the pace. And that's the other issue here. Fierceness can get the lead. I don't think Nisos goes. You've got some other token speed that's in this race, but Fierceness probably the fast horses if he wants to. So to me, it's the 1 and the 4 here, and I'm going to pass on Journalism. I don't want to use all three favorites. I don't want to use the two favorites in Nisos and Journalism. And I think Fierceness offers the most value from a pick X perspective. So I went the 1 and the 4, Nisos and Fierceness in here.
No, it's so upsetting that he's passing on Journalism. My knock on, if you'll let me, Chloe, I'd like to see. I went with Nisos and Journalism in here. I think Nisos is the most likely winner. Can you hush, please? My issue with Fierceness is, and let me know if this is too much for you. My issue with Fierceness, you look at his last 7 races, he has lost ground in the stretch in all 7 races. I don't like him in this spot because Midnight Mammoth, they've said they're sending. They are absolutely going to send Midnight Mammoth. You know, Tarantino will be forward. Miramati was supposed to be in here, and then Baffert looked at the field and said, there's enough speed to set up for Nisos. I don't need to push Fierceness with Miramati as well. So for me, Nisos and then Journalism. If you want to single Nisos, that's my top play.
Yeah, look, I agree. Nisos is the single if you're going to single anybody here, because I do think Nisos has a big shot to fire a huge race. The fact that Baffert doesn't send Miramati makes you feel like he's not worried that there's not enough pace in here. I understand you're just going to blindly send Midnight Mammoth, but if you do that and Fierceness gets a good trip, all of a sudden he's the one sitting right off it. I just don't know the style of race that Journalism wins here, and that's what I'm really interested to see. And I'm excited that we get to see Journalism against Older, because like all the talk around Sovereignty and how good Sovereignty has been, and Sovereignty is a horse that, you know, could be, I think, is the best 3-year-old we've seen since 1989 when Sunday Silence and Easy Goer were going against each other. I mean, if that's the case, then you would expect Journalism is going to be able to handle Older horses the first time that he faces them. But this is a tough spot to draw because you do have Nisos, who I think is going to be one of those favorites in the Breeders' Cup Classic when you get to it. And you've got Fierceness, who ran second in the Breeders' Cup Classic last year. So the pace setup, I think, could favor Journalism, but you got to look at, like, okay, where is he going to come from? How is he going to sit in this race? I'd expect Journalism is sitting 6 lengths, 7 lengths off the lead with Nisos and Fierceness in front of him. So he's got to be able to go get both of those horses to be able to win the race. And Fierceness's best race, I think, makes him very difficult in this spot. And then if you're sitting there and you're wondering, okay, what is Fierceness going to do if he doesn't fire? I think Nisos's best race makes it very difficult for journalism in this spot. And so I ended up on the 1 and the 4. I'm going to take the 2 older horses in here. I do think the weight difference matters for journalism, who's dropping 6 pounds in this spot. So we'll see if what the 3-year-old class has to do. But I will say this, if journalism absolutely romps in this spot, how good is Sovereignty? Like, that is going to tell us just how good this 3-year-old class is. I think Sovereignty is going to be your Breeders' Cup Classic favorite, irregardless of what the rest of this 3-year-old crop does. But I think journalism will give us a look into what to expect moving forward from the rest of that 3-year-old class. If I was trying to play this race from a multi perspective, an exotic perspective, and not just multi-factor, I do think there is a decent chance one of these 3 doesn't hit the try. And if they do miss, I know that, you're knocking Paco for the last race. I think the 5 Indispensable, a little bit interesting, because that's the one horse that can come from off the pace of the non-short priced horses here. And if Indispensable able to come from off the pace, I think it sets up well for him to be able to at least make up into 3rd place, possibly even 2nd, and blow up the exact of the trifecta. So, 1 and the 4 for me in the pick 5, but the 5 horse, the horse I want to use in the exotics in the single race bets.
It's almost impossible for a 3-year-old to win this race. We had Arabian Night Go Rocket Ride 2 years ago, right? Or was that last 2 years ago? 2 years ago. So that was a situation. She's a pain in the butt to try and burp, man. Babies. Luckily, she didn't get it on. Usually she gets it on me. I fully expected to have just spit up right there on the shoulder. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm so sorry for the noise. She's calmed down finally. Listen, it's also hard for shippers. You know who the last shipper to win here was? Dullahan in 2012. Now, none of them were Fierceness, the shippers that came in, but yeah.
Well, do you consider anybody a shipper here, though?
Fierceness.
I mean, I guess you can say, but Fierceness has run over the track. It's not like a blind shipper, right? Because Del Mar is one of those tracks. It's funky. People like certain horses don't like it because of the sand in the track and the way that it feels. The fact that I think Fierceness ran his best race ever over the Del Mar track makes me less concerned around the shipping angle.
So you think that the 5 Indispensable, I was going to ask you this too. If, let's say Nisos is in the top 2 and either Fierceness or Journalism is in the top 2 and we're going to chuck the other one. So you're playing into a trifecta. Who is most likely to get 3rd that you would want to use?
To me, it's Indispensable just because of the race flow. I mean, we talked about it. Luraman has some speed. Tarantino has some speed. Midnight Mammoth is supposed to go. Fierceness has some speed. Ultimate Gamble showed speed going a mile last time. To me, I want the horse that can be tactical, can come from off the pace. Now, we'll see the ride that Paco gives, because like the Oklahoma Derby, we saw this horse forwardly placed, but that last time going a mile, and they went 22:45, 110, so very fast paces. At least we were off the pace in that race. I would expect Paco doesn't want to get involved in the early tussle, and if that's the case, I mean, to me, that's the horse that can be able to get the setup here and run up into 3rd, into 2nd. If we see Fierceness not fire, if we see Journalism not fire, if we see Nisos not get the distance, I think the 5 is the one that makes the most sense.
I agree with you on that. Yeah, it's very interesting what happens with Indispensable. John Sadler has won this race more than any other trainer not named Bob Baffert. So the fact that knowing everyone who's going to be in here and off of an entry-level allowance win barely, they send him, I thought was very interesting. Not going to have Hector Barrios. He had already committed to the 7 Luraman, unfortunately. So you get Paco instead. All right, 1 race left to go. The Grade 2 Del Mar Handicap. And just like with the Green Flash 2 races earlier, we have a back-to-back defending champion who's got to deal with an outside draw, the 11 Gold Phoenix, but he gets Flavian Pratt aboard.
Yeah, he does. And this horse loves Del Mar, loves the distance. 4 for 8 at Del Mar, 3 for 3 at the distance. You mentioned 2 for 2 in this race specifically. It's hard not to take Gold Phoenix. I have Gold Phoenix on top. Kind of happy we got the outside post, because then at least the price doesn't get absolutely clobbered for this horse. But I'm not going to go crazy and try and go too deep here. This is a horse that again, loves the track, loves the distance, gets Pratt. I think it's all systems go for Gold Phoenix here, who should run a pretty big race. So I do have Gold Phoenix on top. I'm assuming you're using Gold Phoenix as well.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah. So you went 2 deep, I went 3 deep. Gold Phoenix. Absolute has to be on your ticket, I think.
Yeah, we went different directions for our other horses. I went with the 5 horse. and I don't know how to pronounce this one. Atalan.
We pronounce it the 5-horse at FanDuel TV. That's what we call it.
Yeah, I have no clue. It's a random mixture of vowels and letter consonants. Anyway, yeah, we're going with the 5-horse here. It's 5-1 in this spot. I really like the race 2 back. I really like the race 3 back. Those are going a mile and a quarter, mile and a half. Was in the Shoemaker Mile last time and ran really well to get 5th. At a distance, I don't think this horse is really set up all that great for. This is a horse that wants to go longer. That's what we're getting today with a mile and 3/8. Like I said, is one it's shorter and longer than this, going a mile and a half, quarter and a mile and a half. So this is a distance that should set up well for this 4-year-old son of the Factor. We know we love the Factor here, and you get Barrios, who has been on this horse for all the major wins. I think this is also the right setup. You have a horse that has tactical speed when going this distance. Isn't fast, but has tactical speed when going this long and sits a very good trip in these spots. So you're going to get that mid-pack trip. I think there's enough speed here to set it up for the 5 to be able to come from just off it. And this is, again, a spot where I like these type of horses who are first off the layoff later in the 4-year-old season. 59 flat workout last time out over the racetrack, so it appears to be doing well here, and they want to get back into graded stakes company here. So I like the 5-horse in this spot quite a bit at 5-1. I'm just going to go 2 deep here and use the 11 and the 5 to close out the pick 5.
So you bring up an interesting case. Tactical speed on the 5, I agree. By the way, Lake Atitlan is it's the deepest lake in Central America. There's it's in Guatemala, and there's like all these mountains and like a volcanic crater. But there is no pace outside of the 8 Final Boss, and I actually made that horse my top play in here. This is a horse that at a mile and an 8th, 3 back, got to win. You look at the mile and 8th Cinema, got to win. Mile and an 8th entry-level allowance at San Anita, got to win. This horse is 3 for 3 going a mile and an 8th. I think this is a horse that can stretch that out another half mile or 2 for quarter mile and just be able to control this race up front and go gate to wire.
Yeah, look, the 4 is going to control the race. I have distance concerns and level concerns, to be honest. I mean, the 5-horse coming out of 8 straight graded stakes races. The 8-horse, it's overnight stakes, restricted stakes. It's optional allowances. It's not the same level that we've seen the other horses inside of this field facing. And the speed at Del Mar's turf has not been great recently. It's been a track where you want to be stalking, you want to be closing, especially going more than one turn. So I find it hard to believe the 8's going to be able to wire the field, but you are right. I mean, the 8-horse is going to be the horse that is going to be up front and going to control the pace. So if he's able to extend that speed, then I think it does make some sense. I do want to shout out here, Car Ramrod saying, am I crazy for considering the 3? No, I don't think so. This is a horse that I went back and forth on. This is a 4-year-old first time out later in the 4-year-old season, something we talked about with the 5, back-to-back wins, both coming from off the pace, both at longer distances, just coming off a grade 3 where he's 5-1. And the kick that we saw from Nitty, the 3-horse here in that last race in the San Juan Capistrano was devastating magic, just flying down the lane. So yeah, I don't think the 3 is a crazy consider at all.
No, and I was just talking before. I like Armando Ayuso a lot. He's a good good jockey. You can either catch him at prices there. 3rd one for me, similar running style to the 3 Nitty, but I went to the 7 Truly Quality, and this is another one that just loves long distance races. He didn't have a good effort in the San Marcos, but that was a front runner's kind of a win for There Goes Harvard. Just didn't have much of a chance. But before that, he wins the Grade 2 Hollywood Turf Cup over Thanksgiving weekend. Last to first, pretty much in that spot. Before that, won the Grade 3 Singsfield going this mile and 3/8. That was at Woodbine. Last to first. The mile and 3/8 race at Saratoga during the summer last year. Second beat in the neck behind Battle of Normandy. That precipitated a 3-race win streak. It also was a mile and a half, $150,000 stakes win at Colonial. The 7 could bring his game on the road. And you look at the breeding by Quality Road, there's good turf ability there, but the Dam, she won 3 times. They were all 8.5, 9 furlong races. So this horse wants to go long. The longer, the better. Got a nice entry-level win at Aqueduct last May by 6 lengths. It showed a little bit more tactical speed there, but I think that whatever this horse wants to do, watch out for the 7. I think he's going to be really sneaky.
Yeah, I had the 7 and third. So the 7 was a horse that I considered. I love Jonathan Thomas. We talked about him a bunch. Very good off the layoff at the 19%. This horse won 3 straight races before losing the San Marcos to There Goes Harvard and Esther, like 2 very good horses in that spot. And that was probably a little short. I mean, it's not often you say a mile and a quarter is a little short for a horse, but if you go to the 5 previous races, all going a mile and a half, mile and 3/8, this horse has 4 wins and a second place. You want to go back one further, has a third place, only 3/4 of a length, going a mile and a half. So I do think you need every bit of this distance. And I think, again, respect Jonathan Thomas, respect Rispoli. I just didn't want to spend more on my ticket. So I ended up not putting the 7 on there. Other horse I was interested in this spot was the number 4, Stay Hot, who I think makes some sense. Will, again, has the tactical speed. I think is going to be sitting right behind the number 8 here, Final Boss. And we'll see if the kick into the lane is enough. For me, it's just you don't have the race on paper I can point to say, oh, yeah, we should definitely be using the 4, Stay Hot. I also think that the 5 has gotten progressively better as it's gotten older, whereas the 4, we've not seen that same upgrade as that horse has gotten older, and that's why I prefer the 5 over the 4.
Yeah, the 4 to me just he peaked. We've seen what his best is. Good enough at this level, baby girl. I know. Boy, we're having a rough time right now. You were so good for me last week on air. Kids, man, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Let's see if there's any other one else. You talked about the speed angle. The 2, Adios Cole. Maybe this horse can be part of the pace factor. I bring it up because I'm trying to figure out who else goes with the 8. Maybe the 4, maybe the 2. Outside of that, I saw the 8 having the ability to stretch this field out.
Yeah, I think I don't think anyone goes with the 8, right? And that makes the 8 awfully dangerous. I'm going to be honest too. I just don't like the 8. I haven't liked the 8 in like 2 straight races. So it's hard for me to then say in a step up in class, the 8's just able to get it done. But I don't hate your pace idea. Like we often talk on here, I just want the horse in the lead at the top of the stretch. The 8's going to be on the lead at the top of the stretch as long as Final Boss is able to get the distance. And if that's the case, it makes Final Boss dangerous. There have been so many horses that have gotten easier leads at Del Mar this year that have just gotten eaten up late. And I just, with the quality of the rest of this field, I think that's got to be a concern. Did you consider the 9 Endlessly at all? This one was one of those where like there was so much faith in this horse early, right? It was 5-1 in the Breeders' Cup juvenile turf. Lost unquestionable that day. Mountain Bear ran second, came back and won, and just kind of leveled off. But it still feels like the talent's in there. It's just the question of, are you ever able to put it together like Endlessly was a 2?
No, the Kentucky Derby kind of hurt him pretty bad. His trainer, Mike McCarthy, didn't want him to run there. He wanted to run the American turf.
Yep.
Connections were like, well, it's a homebred and we never get to run the Derby. I understand that. He hasn't come back anywhere close to the same since then. So I think they might have, I don't want to say ruined him. I think that he peaked in the Jeff Ruby.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he took on too much. I mean, the last race to me is the concerned one. Like the Manhattan, what are we doing? Like why are we in the Manhattan, right? Like, so there's just been some placing question marks for this horse. I wouldn't be shocked if Endlessly hits the try or runs up. Like the mile was probably too short for Endlessly, even though I realized that horse was successful at a mile. It's not Endlessly slower early than Endlessly was early in the career, and I think that's why stretching out may be beneficial here.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Magic Mike Show. Thanks for joining us and Chloe for the Pacific Classic Day Pick 5. We'll give it our tickets one last time. We'll put it down below. But if you're listening, we'll read them out for you. I'm going to go 1-4-11 with 4-6. I'm thinking about maybe going 5-6 now that Chris Victor, the co-owner, was talking about it. 4-7, 10, 11, 12, then 4-6, then 7, 8, 11, $90 for me, Mr. Somich.
I'm going to spend a little bit less here. 50-cent ticket will cost you 72 total. Going to go 1-4-8 with 2-5-6 with 4, 8, 10, 11 with 1-4 with 5, 11. $72 for 50 cents.
And over on the Racing Dudes website, the betting Bible for the Pacific Classic is available. So check that out. Go order it if you have a premium subscription to any of the products that we offer through racingdudes.com. You're going to get that and every other betting Bible included with your subscription. And one of your subscriptions could be for the Somobombs. What you looking at this weekend?
We are all over the place. So we've got Saratoga and Del Mar today. And then we're going to have Saratoga, Del Mar, and Kentucky Downs Saturday and Sunday. So a lot up there Saturday and Sunday. Swept Kentucky Downs yesterday, which would be more impressive if anyone over like 3-1 won any of those races. If you told me I was going to sweep the exotics in the Kentucky Downs and it was only going to return $1,500, I would have told you you're crazy. But whatever. I guess the sweep's a sweep. But yeah, Kentucky Downs yesterday, chalk filled. We'll see if we can get some prices home here in the next couple days. And yeah, I liked a couple horses at Saratoga today. We'll see if we're able to get some prices home there as well into the third race now. I like the 4 General Jim more than the general public here. The horse is 8-1 right now on the board. I think he is live against Program Trading, who is sitting on the board at 1-2 right now. So we'll see if we can get a little bit of price home to start the second pick 4 or pick 5 and continue the early pick 5 moving on.
Best of luck, however you're playing this weekend. I'll be on FanDuel TV 9 to noon Pacific on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, with it being Labor Day there. What is your VSiN schedule like?
A little bit all over the place, to be honest with you. We're going to be on 3 to 6 tomorrow, 3 to 6 Pacific, 6 to 9 Eastern, talking everything college football, recapping the big Texas-Ohio State game, talking Miami and Notre Dame heading into Sunday, as well as any of the late bets for Sunday night or for Saturday night college football. And then Sunday we'll be on from 10 to 1 Pacific, 1 to 4 Eastern with a big-time NFL preview just 1 week out, and also obviously previewing that Miami-Notre Dame game, which goes off at 4:30. Bet for tonight, Magic. I like Georgia Tech a lot. Georgia Tech going into Colorado. This Colorado team's going to be bad. And Georgia Tech is a team that I think is on the upswing. They are 4.5 favorites. I laid 6 and laid 9.5 with them on alt lines to see if we can just get the blowout of Colorado and be able to get some money in. I'm surprised Texas and Ohio State starts at 9 o'clock Pacific, noon Eastern. I get it's the big noon kickoff, all that jazz. But, man, that would be nice under the lights there if we got it. Should be a fun game. I have not bet that one at all. I have no clue. And it's interesting because we've seen a big move toward Texas. It's all public money. Like, you talk to the directors at Caesars, you talk to directors at Circa. They're like, none of our sharp clients are betting this game. It is all the public that is moving this number. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, Boise State struggled going coast to coast last night against University of South Florida. Gets run out of the stadium by the Bulls in a big loss there. Nebraska also looked like Nebraska yesterday. I'm just happy we got football back, Magic. I know you're not as big of a football dude as I am, but I'm just happy we get to watch football. Last night, bet on Bowling Green. You know, it's just a special time of the year when you can bet on Bowling Green.
Little Friday night action.
You know,
Fridays they used to have that.
No, Action's going to be Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So you get Wednesdays. That's why you got to love Buffalo, Bowling Green, Miami of Ohio. Let's go. Give me that weekday football. Just inject it into my veins.
The one football bet I like futures wise, if I could bet, would be Atlanta Falcons over. I think they're going to have a big year. Michael Penix will have a full season under center. Hopefully he stays healthy. And how could you not love Bijan Robinson? As long as he stays healthy, they're always going to have a chance with Bijan.
Yeah, they made a lot of moves on the defensive side. That's going to be the key for Atlanta. Did the moves they made defensively, are they going to take and are they going to be able to really set themselves up for success? I have got so much Packers future before yesterday. So I have Packers to win the Super Bowl. I've got Packers to win the NFC, Packers to win the division. I've got Packers Bills exact Super Bowl matchup at 45-1. I'm just and then we get Parsons. I am over the moon that all of that stuff, or that I bet everything before yesterday. I've been talking about the Packers, the team I think is going to take a massive step forward this year on VSiN for 2 months. And now we go get Parsons. So I am a pseudo Packers fan this year, Magic, and I'm very happy that they traded 2 firsts and a defensive lineman to go get Micah Parsons.
I mean, it should be worth it, right? Find 2 first-round picks that are going to equal what he can do for you. It's
going to be 2 late first-round picks. That's the other part of this. It's like It's basically an early second. If they let's say the Packers make the conference finals, you're picking 28th or worse, right? It's so funny to me how Jerry Jones just fumbled the bag here with all 3, Dak, with CD, and now with Parsons.
Yeah, we're gonna cry one out for the Cowboys fans. No, it didn't work. Okay.
I will cry one out for Dallas. Name a city that has traded 2 superstars more like high profile than Luka and Parsons in the same year. Like, not a great year for a Dallas fan here.
I would say the Mavericks will come out better than the Cowboys.
Well, they also luck boxed into the number 1 pick. Like, if they don't they're picking 12th, then well, maybe not luck box, but like if they're picking 12th, then that trade is viewed very different. I mean, people still don't think it's a good trade, even though they got Cooper Flag. But I mean, if you pick 12th, that is a disaster.
That's true. Very true. What is not a disaster is what this Magic Mike show has been, despite someone's best efforts. Now that she's asleep in my arms. Where was this?
She's snoozing now, right?
Where was this 45 minutes ago?
Yep.
Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Curtis Kalleward. He's at Somobomb 18, number 1, number 8. Appreciate everybody joining us for the Magic Mike show. We'll be back again next Friday. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Until then, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck this week.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.